we return to the season finale of Solo Leveling, as Jinwoo first orders the A-rank cameraman to cut the feed before he has Tusk bring him the body of the fallen Byung-gu. Back at sea, what's left of the Japanese strike team are getting prepared to rejoin the fight. The ants are swarming above Jeju Island like the Sentinels from the Matrix, and generic Sakamoto Days assassin is having none of it. He's the only one of them who even saw Beru in action, live in 4K, and that shit was terrifying. But the Japanese version of Manager Wu lets him know that Beru's actually dead.
Huh?
And that one of the Korean hunters killed him.
I beg your pardon?
And for some reason, he says it like it's no big deal. I mean, this guy was literally killing all of you. Okay, but back in the anthill, Jinwoo arises Byung-gu and lets Baek Yoon-ho know that he'd heard a voice call out to him at the end of the last episode. And it was Byung-gu telling him to use his power. And immediately, Byung-gu heads to heal Cha-hae-in without even being told. And her injuries look even worse when her arm isn't, whipped and nay-nayed against her side, because she's literally missing a chunk of her meat, which could, explain all of the near death that's happening right now. Byung-gu heals her with the mother of all quick revives, and Baek Yoon-ho puts his hand on Jinwoo's shoulder and asks him not to use Byung-gu in combat. He hated fighting. Jinwoo reassures him, and he actually releases Byung-gu's shadow. This stupid bum is back, and he just won't shut up. Bro asks whoever is on the call why they are still alive, meaning the, Korean strike team. And when the dude tells him, he's like, I know that. I mean, how did he get to the island? Huh?
What?
Why did you ask that question in the first place then, stupid?
Little idiots! Idiots!
The man on the other end wants to know if they're proceeding with Order 66. But this will be risky because they'd be exposing themselves as even bigger frauds if anything worse happened. Not to mention, any high-level Japanese gates back home would be a huge issue if they lost any more S ranks. After getting swept in this season's series, it's time to go back to the drawing board, buddy. Chairman Bum orders a complete withdrawal.
Bro, for real, it's so annoying to work for this dude. I swear to God, if he yells at me one more time after asking a stupid question, I'm sleeping his ass. And have you noticed, this dude can't decide whether he wants to be Reed Richards or... Bro, I know! He wants to be Japanese Hitler so bad. Hey, is the call still going? I thought he hung...
Inside the anthill, Jinwoo is leveling up. He takes out Baran's sword and starts doing his best Raiden impression, electrocuting ants like they starred in the Green Mile. He even stops and acts like he just remembered how strong the sword is. Buddy, you got it like 3 episodes ago, which is, and I have no notes here, no calculator, but that's less than a week ago in world time. Besides, it does make sense. He is like an assassin type, close range, dual wielding the daggers, even against opponents who have swords or some other ranged weapon that daggers have a disadvantage against. And as he steps back to let his crew get in on the action, he finally levels up to 100 and gets a new nickname, the one who overcame adversity. And now he's powerful enough to extract Beru's shadow, and when he does, he finds himself in the Upside Down. Or, at least he's literally upside down in darkness. And then, just like that, he's back, standing in front of Beru's corpse, as behind him some kind of nasty goo drips, and then turns into an Eye of Sauron, and then into a cocoon, and then the cocoon opens and it's Beru? I have no idea how bro got an entire Power Ranger suit-up sequence for his shadow extraction, but you know what? I'm not mad at it. Jinwoo was about to move on making shadows out of the other ants, but Beru calls out to him.
Notice me, Senpai. Please, my glorious king.
And Jinwoo is low-key happy that he can actually talk to his slaves. Shadows. He's happy he can talk to his shadows. Jinwoo asks Beru, since I killed you, you're not gonna hold a grudge, right? I mean, just because you can talk, that doesn't mean you're not my slave. Servant. Indentured shadow. Beru says in return that Jinwoo didn't kill him. He rebirthed him. Beru says he's filled with joy and wants to serve Jinwoo for eternity? So he's clearly already on some Jared Leto cult levels of devotion. And from what I've heard, the glazing only gets more ridiculous.
Dangerous! A beast slayer! A conqueror's conqueror! The goat of all goats!
Also, Beru's rank is General, a rank he's never seen before. If you want to know more about that, Weeb Commander has multiple videos discussing Jinwoo's shadows, but remember it's pure spoiler territory. Jinwoo gets to work extracting the shadows of all the other ants. And outside, the Korean hunters on the ships are proving even narratively useless characters can get their moments, as they risk life and limb holding off the ants. Jinwoo and Beru stand on a cliff watching the ships before Jinwoo says, "Jump." Beru replies, "How high?" and Jinwoo says, 4,000 ants. And Beru takes off to murder the rest of his kind. Juhee and Song Chi-yul are on the ground, doing what they can to protect their homeland. Just as it seems the one-armed swordsman is cooked, Beru flies by, eviscerates the ants, and moves on to his next target, moving like Yondu's arrow in Guardians of the Galaxy. Juhee knows if some absurd shit is happening, it's probably Jinwoo's fault, so everything's fine. And things are still perilous. Ants are attacking the helicopter with Korea's S-ranks inside. The mage from Gi-hoon's team is putting on an all-time effort, shielding the helicopter from the ants ramming it as they evac Cha Hae-in. And Chairman LTG and Jongin Choi are in the gunner positions as they play the craziest round of Black Ops Zombies Transit. You'll just never understand the majesty. Unfortunately, the mage simply can't hold the shield, and it shatters. But as it does, Jinwoo comes in on the back of his dragon with a Dracarys Force Lightning combo, and because he's on dragon back, the attack gets a 2x multiplier. The clouds part as the helicopter makes its way back to the mainland, and on the ground, victory. Korea's hunters cheer and celebrate. Finally, the darkest tragedy since the gates began appearing is over. In the ocean, in the aftermath, we see ships preparing to combat some ants. But they aren't Korean. Before the mages can respond, the captain instructs them not to. Stand down, boys. There's an S-rank hunter aboard, and he wants some exercise. With the nonchalance of Mihawk, he dual-wields swords and releases a Getsuga Jujisho, or I guess like an X Games mode style slash, exploderizing the ants headed towards them. Not Simu Liu, not Liu Kang, or Lucy Liu. Li Zigang, China's #1 hunter. And he's not just any S-rank. He's one of them boys, a national level hunter, on the level of the feared Thomas Andre. The big boys are coming out to play. In front of a monument to the fallen, a nationally televised day of mourning happens, with the loved ones of those killed, hunters and civilians alike, express their grief and pay their respects, with much of Korea's most well-known hunters in attendance. And even in solo leveling, an admittedly simple and straightforward show, it's shown that Jinwoo is getting criticism from some of the public for not intervening sooner. Bae Kyung-ho tells him to keep his head up, and Jinwoo moves on to the waiting Chairman Go and Manager Woo, who has claimed his sunglasses because he's no longer in crisis mode. They move on to a more scenic location where Chairman Go asks him about, what he plans to do now that the nation, and really the rest of the world, knows about him, Korea's strongest hunter.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
Well, goddammit, he's starting his own guild. On Jeju Island, the Knights Guild, led by Park Jong-soo, is on cleanup duty. And honestly, respect to this man, Park Jong-soo. He's all about fulfilling his duty as a hunter, glitz and glamour be damned. But suddenly, this big-ass Broly-looking dude with a Kraven the Hunter outfit steps out of the shadows. And before he can do anything, the hunters all fall unconscious. And then this Barca, the ice elf looking nigga, comes out of the shadows and starts chatting it up with Broly. They discuss some unnamed person who they never expected to help humans. Now, whoever they're talking about is someone they've known for a long time. And then elderly ice elf opens a gate. Something to this point that we thought was random may actually be purposefully orchestrated by elderly ice elf and the other people like him and Broly. But before leaving, Broly asks, isn't one of them here? He could mean the cave, the country, or this dimension, considering their immediate access to other ones. And elderly ice elf states that they can leave this area to whoever Broly mentioned, and that the hunt will commence as planned. You know, now every time a hunt has been mentioned, it has been a dungeon boss talking about the phrase they keep hearing in their skulls. I feel like we're getting some Easter eggs here. And alone, Broly turns and slashes open what appears to be a red gate, before he mentions a woman probably like him and the elderly ice elf, and disappears. In the shadows, Korea's #1 prison dad watches. We join Jinwoo in traffic before Jinho calls. The guild is a go, and Jinha's friend pops on screen asking Jinwoo for a bigger role in the sister leveling series before Jinwoo hangs up. Chairman Go calls and tells him the source of the gridlock Jinwoo is in is a B-rank gate, so Jinwoo offers his services to close it up. This is clearly happening on purpose at this point. Every gate this man goes into turns into a red gate. This is ridiculous. On the inside, there are suspiciously dressed... Let me not even do this. If the ice elves from the forest gate are like lesser versions of the elderly ice elf, and the ants on Jeju Island are like lesser versions of Beru, then these Dundajaka looking motherfuckers are the lesser versions of Broly. Jinwoo wastes no time, unleashing his shadows and letting them feast, tearing bodies apart, standing on piles of corpses while Jinwoo monologues. And in the end, with his soldiers lined up on either side to let him through, Jinwoo finishes his monologue. Anyways, if you watched this far, you might as well like and subscribe, and even if you don't want to, thanks for the views. Peace.